First off, my story starts in high school. I know that's a long time for me, but I got introduced to sociology, more like anthropology, from my IB class. If you don't know what IB is, it's like an AP class for like international people. I'm not really international. I mean, I guess I'm not from like here. I'm not Native American, or I'm not white, so I'm from outside. But yeah, we learned about so many interesting things, and I think being Asian American, like that dichotomy of or being both Asian and American in America, it's like you have to kind of choose which society and cultures you are gonna adopt almost, and it's hard to blend them. Some of them sometimes it counteracts, and so I loved like the idea of culture growing up because I just saw it and affected my life, like how I can make friends, what kind of jobs I could get. It affected a large portion of everything I did. So I'm like, all right, well, that's my life. I gotta learn it, right? And so in anthropology class, we learned about like the Trobrianders and like a native group of I don't know what you call it, what call them, just like a group of people who lived in New Zealand, and they had so many interesting, fascinating things like the yams. They're big on yams. Yams there's something called like the king's yam where only the chieftain is allowed to grow these, and the larger the yam they grow, it's not even used for like really eating, but the larger the yam they grow, the more power they have. And so it's like really interesting how a yam could be that, and I was so fascinated by this idea of culture, and so I just explored that as I went to college because I had no idea what the heck I was supposed to do. Do you know when you're 18? I didn't know. So I was like, all right, I'll just apply to one school. So I chose to go to the school, the most popular in Seattle, called University of Washington. And I just pursued my degree in sociology because I thought I wanted to be a social worker. And all I kind of really, well, I learned a lot about life. I think I grew up because you kind of learn about the atrocities of the human experience sometimes. And I'm like, man, that's kind of tough. But yeah, so I got depression for spending 4 years I was at the University of Washington. And after that, I was looking, senior year for me was COVID. So COVID hit, and I'm like, oh, what the heck am I supposed to do? I'm kind of lost. I don't know. So I just kept going with the motions. Everybody was, they kept doing school, they kept college, and I was like, all right, maybe that's what I gotta do too. So, keep my parents happy, keep my community not asking me like, hey, what are you gonna do? Hey, what are you gonna do? For Asian people, that's a big deal what college you're going to. Like your mom tries to flex. Your mom's like, my son went to Yale. My son went to UW. My son went to Harvard. So you can't if you say like, oh, my son didn't go to college, you're like, what the freak? What's wrong with this guy? Kind of mentality. And so I went to college and I got a degree in sociology. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta find a job. And so I was like, what kind of jobs I can find? I can work at a legal office. I can do this and this. I can do this and that. And I was like, all right, well, I had a friend at the time who was working as a case manager, and I would hear stories. I would hear stories. I think one of the stories that got me the most was, there's this woman who was just doped out on drugs in an apartment where people who were trying to, it's like a subsidized rent, so they make as much money as they can, pay a little bit of the rent, and the government helps pay the rest, so they can help get them back on their feet. But he found the woman like in the room, baby was crying his eyes out. He's like, I don't know how long that baby has been crying, and I'm like, wow, that's really heavy. So because of that, I think my personality type is more of like a sponge. And so I kind of absorb everything that's going around me, and I'm sure I was going to bring that home. And I didn't want that to affect my future family or my future wife. And hopefully, your boy gets married. And so I decided there has to be a better option to this. And so, I looked around, and I found a boot camp on software engineering, and my friend was doing the data analyst version. And I said, okay, well, hey, well, I'll give it a shot. I like computers. I grew up playing MapleStory, as many Asian Americans did. And so I landed in software engineering. My first bootcamp was General Assembly. We'll make another video about the goods and bads of that. But it was my first start in tech and software engineering. I think something that really brought me down was I went to UW and I was like, I'm not like the smartest cookie, but I'm not the stupidest cookie. I'm like a half-eaten cookie. So I did math calc 1 at UW and it's notoriously hard. I think that like many are known to fail even if they're good at math, and so you have to really have a good work ethic, and I did not have that work ethic. I just kind of tried my best, but it was not enough. You have to work hard. So I did not get a good grade in calc. So I decided from then on, I'm not a STEM guy, I guess. I'm just supposed to be someone who talks to people, helps people out like that. And that mentality of you're not a STEM guy stuck with me for so long that it really hindered my career in tech. So after I did the boot camp, I kind of believed, oh, like I can do it. And I kept saying mantras like, oh, you can do it, you can do it, and encouraging myself in that way. And so, yeah, I just doing the boot camp, and I'm loving it. I love the challenge. I love learning new tech and making something out of nothing. Like it is such a wonderful, thought provoking process, and that's what I fell in love with. And I'm like, okay, so this is where I'm gonna go. So from there, that's when all the jobs started to decline, and so everyone was getting laid off. I'm like, this is not great. So, I don't have really much to show for tech, and so if someone who has a degree in tech and software engineering bachelor's, they're in the front of the line, and I'm back. If someone gets laid off, the line gets progressively worse, and so I'm just in the back of the line for every entry. I think I saw on LinkedIn it was like 800 applications within like 3 days, and I'm like, that I have no chance. So I said, okay, well maybe there's another way I can break in. So as I'm studying, doing my software, I took jobs here and there to see if I can get like an entry level role somewhere else. And no luck as of now. I'm still like like a tech consultant. So I help out here and there with like printer issues, the calling center. Not you get some rancid customers. That's not where you want. So after that horrible experience working at a call center, I thought, okay, I gotta go back to school because I need an internship, and that's my foot in the door. So I went back to school for into Bothell for a year, and then I got a degree, like a intermediary certificate degree, where if you don't have a bachelor's, you can go to the master's. I didn't get into the master's program, but I did complete the certificate with very. It was a hard, long year. It was a very hard, long year, and so I completed that. And now I'm just applying. I'm like looking for jobs. I think it's been like 2021. I've been applying. So 2, 3, 4. It's been about 3 years. I've been kind of looking and trying to get my start in tech, and so that's where I am now. And so I decided, why don't I document it? I bet other people are experiencing the same struggle, and so kind of showing my side of the story and explaining what I learned, and hopefully, you need together. We all got this. It's okay. If you want to break through in tech, you can do it, but you have to outwork everybody else. That's a mentality diff. Mentality diff. The best of luck to you guys, and that's just my story. And I hope you guys come along for the ride. Maybe I'll code with you guys. Maybe I'll talk about new tech. Maybe I'll just talk about my wins and losses. Bye.